I was a little confused by all of the demographic information in the application, kind of wondering why I was asking for my address, a lot of personal information about myself, which in hindsight, now that I work in college admissions, I understand that that information all has a lot of practical uses throughout the process. But that was really kind of the most confusing part to me. That information I mentioned, kind of things about you, where you live, the classes you're currently taking, things about even like your race and ethnicity. It may seem very personal, but colleges use that to know who's really at their school, who's applying to their school, and kind of the communities and the populations of students that they're working with. And we use that to identify areas that maybe need a little bit more support, to kind of focus our resources, and also to know that students who are maybe coming from those areas might have different needs than students coming from larger, more urban areas, for example. So it really does have a lot of practical use for colleges on the back end. You may never see the results of that work. You may never know exactly what we're doing, but just know that that information all does have a purpose. We're not asking for anything for no specific reason.
And I was a student athlete. So I was able, through the team I was playing with, was able to start to talk to athletic coaches. And so when it got really confusing was when I had to apply. So I was talking with these coaches and it was really exciting, but then I needed to apply. And what was really confusing was the pieces that needed to come in after I submitted my application. So, a high school transcript and some other pieces. And what I did was I contacted the colleges directly. So I called the different schools that I'd applied to. It was two of them, a big school and a small school, and called them each to ask them, I haven't heard anything, what's going on? And learning along the way by utilizing their offices. And actually talking with the schools really helped me decide where I wanted to go. When you're submitting your application, you're submitting a ton of this demographic information, like Jarrod was talking about. You're submitting that college essay. And for some schools, that's applying directly through that school's website. For some schools, that's going through a separate website, like the Common Application. And submitting that piece of information is giving a snapshot of just one piece of you. So, that demographic or that college essay. And then schools need additional pieces, and each school will require a different set of pieces. So it will depend on each individual schools, but the most common are going to be an official high school transcript. And official meaning that it needs to come directly from your school to that college. You can't be in the middle of it, passing it off. That's because it ensures that there is confidence in the material and in the grades that are shown. And then another piece is also going to be a recommendation. So that could be in many different forms. At Pacific, we accept letters of recommendation. So working with someone in your school setting to write a piece, write an essay, a short essay, like 2 paragraphs, really, about maybe some of your academic successes or challenges. And that needs to come oftentimes directly from that recommender to the college. So again, it has to come directly from them to the college. And then other pieces might be standardized testing. So that SAT score, that ACT test score. And then other schools might also require some additional materials, such as some portfolios. Like if you're looking at any sort of art program, sometimes portfolios are required. Some schools are requiring a dive into the academics that you've taken. So really, if you are confused, I would say contact that college directly. You can start with just the main Office of Admissions line.
So the advice that I wish I had received during my college search, or maybe somebody even tried to tell me this and I just didn't hear it, was that college counselors, us, are not scary dream crushers, right? It's a really mystifying process, what happens after you push that submit button, right? And you just know that someone is reviewing this application that has all of this information about you, and ultimately is going to pass a judgment about whether you're going to be admitted to their school or not. And that's pretty intense, right? And like, for me, it just felt like, oh gosh, these people are really scary that are going to be making this decision. But I wish someone would have told me that our titles, which we were talking about earlier, of being an admission counselor is really intentional. And the counseling piece is what draws all of us to this work ultimately, right? We really want to support students through this mystifying process. Our intention is to make sure that you have access to the best higher education and the best fit for you that you can have, whether that's at our school or not. If you want to call me up on any given day and just ask questions about this process, and you don't have any intention of applying to the school that I work for, I guarantee you I will still answer those questions because this process and that, the pursuit of higher education is important.